Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. It is time for some more undead, but with a nice different look today. We've got some more Conquest models from Parabellum Games. Today we're going to take a look at the Old Dominion... guys. I'm gonna guess that's probably gonna be from a Greek root. My poor American linguist skills, I want to say Buccephaloi? Buccephaloi? And if I remember correctly, because I was trying to do some research into the naming of these guys, because I was just really curious, I do want to say it's a Greek derivative, that it's going to be like something like a ox or bull head. I mean, I don't actually know, and maybe somebody can chime in there that does have a bit better understanding of languages other than English, or maybe English as well. But anyways, as you can see, we have some big, heavily armored Minotaurs, except they're not alive. They are undead Minotaurs, which, number one, isn't something we see very often, but number two, they've got some style going on. I mean, realistically, if you wanted to probably re-enliven them, you possibly could get away with it. I do like the fact, I want to say, well, we'll find out. I want to say that there's a couple of different variations, but those look like the exact same heads. Looks like we've got big polearm type weapons. Let's take a look at our undead Minotaurs. So we've got the usual bases. Now I'm curious if these are the ones that have the... Okay. The only reason I'm looking at this and rambling to myself without explaining things is some of the newer models, at least with the smaller infantry size guys, actually do have a little plastic retainer to hold the magnets in there. So if you want to magnetize everything, you are good to go. But no, we've got the big monstrous infantry / cavalry bases for these guys. And then we have 2 hull sprues, which is neither a positive or a negative, it just is. So you can see here we've got all the parts laid out. I do like we have everything numbered. I feel like I haven't seen that before, but it is always nice, especially if you do not have a lot of familiarity with building plastic kits such as these. So the instructions seem pretty laid out well. You can see here we do have an alternate head option as well as an alternate weapon option. That's always nice. Again, we have 2 different heads here. I'm hoping we do. We have 2 different heads here. So that's 6 different heads, 6 different weapons. So you could get some pretty nice variety out of these guys. I'm going to assume, as is the case with almost all Conquest models, that they are going to be nice and large. So the fact that we've got 6 variations on 2 sprues is not really a bad thing. Weapons are quite ornate looking. Got some undead butt cheeks. I've spent far too much time painting nether regions of large bovine monsters, so this is like par of the course for me. How many weapons are on this sprue alone? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sprue weapons? Okay, all the weapons are here. Nope, 7. Interesting. Or maybe there's just some pieces that I'm not missing. So one sprue seems to have all the weapons, and then one sprue seems to have the majority of the body parts. Contact points aren't too large. There is going to need to be some cleanup, but you can see like right here we already have 4 different heads in various states of decomposition. So maybe enlivening them and bringing them back to life might be a bit of a sculpting challenge, but if you're up to it, I bet you can handle it. Me personally, nope. But I want them undead anyway. Alright, I'm also curious to see, it doesn't look like the bodies have any specifications. Sometimes with the Conquest models, we will have a letter demarcating which body goes with which pieces, but I don't see that in this. That might not even be much of an issue, which makes me wonder then if everything is going to be kind of cross-compatible with each other. I am curious about that. This body also has a hole through the middle of it. That's interesting. I wonder if that is intentional, if there's a piece that plugs in there, or if he's just got that big of gaping wound that he is left with. It will definitely be interesting to find out. So I feel like I've rambled on long enough here. Looks pretty straightforward. We've got enough to build 3 of them. Let's give it a shot, see what we get, and we'll grab some other Conquest models to see how everything turns out. So sit tight. Alright, we've got the Buccephaloi, if I'm saying correctly, all put together here, and honestly, they are continuing to really sell me on the Old Dominion as a faction. Maybe I need to spend some more time with, just because they're yet another funky unit. I mean, if you really look at the variety, Old Dominion's got some crazy stuff. So let's take a look at our big giant undead cows, and I do like the fact that between the 3 of them that you get included in the box, there is a ton of variety, and I mean, they're just the dead cow head sticking out there, the quality of the armor, they're just cool sculpts, and the variety of headpieces and horns you get, I'm really pleased with it. Like, you can see straight through them. That's kind of cool. So I made an absolute mess, you can see, with the glue there. That's going to need a little bit of cleaning, but that's okay. I just could not find their bases. I've been searching. I know they're around somewhere, so I cheated and just grabbed the base holder to pretend to rank them up. Again, I like how they're all visually similar but distinct. All with the sundresses up there. Big honking weapons, very elaborate armor. Will I be able to do any of it justice? That's entirely debatable. And they're good sized models. I mean, let's make no mistake with that being said. I mean, for example, once upon a time, this was considered large. Yeah. I mean, even the Nords, Ogres, I don't remember what they're called. I don't have them handy. I've got a bunch of crazy Nord stuff too. And that's honestly one of the things I really love about Conquest is just there's such variety. And I mean, with the Old Dominion alone, we've got obviously giant undead Minotaurs. We've got the Cataphracti. We've got like the Spirit Mortari guys. We've got the Assassin / Cultist box coming. There's the Centaurs. Those Centaurs look absolutely fabulous. I have got to get a box or 2. I mean, I'm like... And here I am always complaining about Cavalry on this channel, too. But, I mean, they keep... If anybody's really selling me on the concept of Cavalry figures, it's Parabellum. 100%. They've also got, like, the Karate Did animated statue things. The mausoleum golem. I mean, there's just a ton of funky units for this faction, and obviously with the advantage of everything being dead. Was it the Zilliarch? One of the leader models for the Old Dominion, along with a few random Legionnaires I found. Gonna have to get myself some of their Varanian Guard, whatever they're called, which is also a dual kit. But I mean, just really, really cool. How often do you see, number 1, Minotaurs, but number 2, undead Minotaurs? Usually they're all like bones, and like I know Reaper's got a couple like that. It's just an interesting idea. It's not something we see often. So in those types of situations, I mean, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to support companies that come out with crazy cool stuff like that. Giant, undead, heavily armored Minotaurs that are rotting and decaying. Sounds interesting. Sign me up. Weird, bizarre, undead centaur things with wings. Yeah, I'll probably be there too. More of the craziness that's coming from the spires with the Leonin Avatara. I'll probably have those on this channel as well. Now it's just a matter of actually sitting down and using these for their intended purpose. I have not had a chance to actually play Conquest proper after all these years. Still, I've got my First Blood books. I'm hoping, I know there's a local shop that actually runs games, so one of these days, if I have time, I am going to make it a point to actually play it, because I think I have enough for a First Blood game with literally any faction painted. They're just fun models. I know people want to complain about the size of the figures, which, understandably, if your collection is almost all entirely stuff of like GW size, you know, I could see that being an issue with our, what, Matriarch Queen, I believe she was called, for the Wadroon. You know, I mean, and it's not just like their big GW standard using a few of the painted human Conquest models I've got from various factions. And that's the other thing. I think there's such variety at this point, and we've got the Sorcerer Kings, and I mean, like the Petal Courts or whatever. I think that's what they were called. And like the more nature-aligned Spires elf things. We've got the Dweghom, we've got the 100 Kingdoms, the Nords with all of their randomness, the City-States, which is one that I'm still finding myself quite tempted by. But again, if you want just variety of figures, and that's the thing, is at this point I've got so many various Conquest models. I mean, I could probably do some kind of dungeon crawl just with Parabellum stuff alone. I think there's a lot of variety at this point, and obviously we want to continue to see that and encourage that. And the fact that they're really good, solid plastic kits is always something that we want to continue to see, as well as the resin models that they make are quite nice too. So if you're in the mood for some giant undead bovine monsters, I don't think you can go wrong with these. And with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.